Hey, this is Trucker here. Jump up in the cab of my truck, buckle your seatbelt, and enjoy the ride as we talk about the games that I've been getting into for the last 2 weeks and one or two other topics along the way. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Trucker That Board Games. Today we're going to be doing a little driver side chat here. Just going to chat about some stuff I've been playing over the last couple weeks, last 2 weeks, and talk about some other stuff, talk about the games and some tips on playing games with somebody for the first time into a heavy game, which I'll go over that in a minute. So we'll start out with a banger here. We're going to start out with SETI Space Agency. Now, I got this to the table uh, 4 nights ago, but I'm telling you right now, this is a 10 out of 10 for me expansion. It did everything I wanted it to. I love SETI. I have 6 plays of SETI last year alone. And then I stopped kind of bringing it because the teach is not short. The first round is kind of boring. Not really much going on. Well, Space Agency takes all that and just amplifies it. So you're gonna get 3 cards. You're gonna pick two, kind of like Terraforming Mars Prelude, and you're gonna get some bonus resources. But you're also gonna get some agencies. Now they're kind of like the corporations, obviously, from Terraforming Mars Preludes, but I've seen 3 of them, and they were all pretty cool. The one I used was whenever you launch a probe, you get the scan, so that really opens up the scanning. And in the base game, I found that scanning is kind of lame, honestly. Like it took a long time. We had to house rule it to get the aliens opened up faster, so we'd put extra dummy tokens out because sometimes the game would drag and you wouldn't get none of the aliens because no one wanted to scan, because you got to really be careful when you scan if somebody else can steal the area control from you. So we just found that part of the game overall kind of boring. Wasn't a lot of scanning, but this game I scanned a ton because every time I put a satellite out, I got the scan. Then I had these scan tokens that whenever you scan, you can discard them and you get an extra scan. You have to discard a card from the market. But what's nice was my corporation, I got one of those on my income. So I had extra scans available, plus every time I launched a satellite. So I think I won 4 to 5 sectors of scanning. And my one buddy, he ended up getting a corporation that let him, he once per round. Oh, and then on top of that, you get an action that you can do once per round. Mine was whenever I play a card, I can get the bonus on the upper left-hand corner. So once again, it's just more stuff you could do. One buddy, he got the agency that once per round, he could just get a tech, and he could use any tech up there of the orange and purple as if he had it. So if you wanted to land on a moon, or I mean on a moon, normally you have to have that tech. He didn't need to have it. He could just say, "I have this tech for the round." Or if he wanted to do extra scans, like if he wanted to discard a card to get an extra scan, he could just say, "Oh, I have that ability right now." So that was actually pretty powerful. I really liked that one. And then also, I think whenever he got a tech, he was able to get a data cube. I'm pretty sure that's the way his worked. But either way, then my other buddy, he got one where once per round, he could take all the bonuses in the card market from the left-hand corner of the card. So very flexible, very versatile. Overall, I mean, it was great. Canceling out that first round is huge for me because that first round was the biggest dud of SETI. So that is amazing. The game still takes quite a while. A lot of that was my buddy's fault. He put 2 new aliens in so we could see them. Well, he didn't want to spoil it, so he didn't want to learn them beforehand. Well, the problem with that is they take a little bit to set up. The one, I'm not going to spoil them, but honestly, just watch the video. I think it's, yeah, Check Games. They do explanation of it, like a video. And you might as well just watch the video for the aliens instead of reading them and figuring out the setup. It's just so much easier. It's like a 6-minute video. Put it on like 1.25 speed, and it explains them really well, actually. So that's the way to do it. We tried to listen. We tried to like learn the one by ourselves. So we were like, let's just watch the video because the one, I'm not gonna spoil, but you have to put like a lot of tokens out. There's just a lot that you had to do. So that kind of bogged the game down a little bit more than I would have liked it to. But overall, I definitely like the two aliens that we played. I'm not sure how many come in it, but yeah, the two that we played were actually, and they actually scored. They could score quite a bit of points, so you could really win with that. In fact, I won by scoring off an alien card, which you didn't really do that much on the other one. I guess you could a little bit, but it definitely added some end game scoring. Which in that game, you can midway through the game you can kind of see who's in the lead, and then as you're getting towards the end, you can kind of just see point wise. There's not too many hidden things, but with that alien scoring, it does change things because you can make some swings depending on what they are. At least the one we played. So overall, a 10 out of 10. I can't say anything bad about it, really. I mean, I wish it would have just came out with the game like that. So now I still got to get the expansion. I'm not sure. I think it's $30, so I don't think it's that bad of a deal. And honestly, I'll never play the game without it again. I'm gonna order it. But yeah, there's no way. It definitely improves on the game. It's up there with Mars for my favorite game. Terraforming Mars is probably my favorite game, and SETI is definitely up there now. A couple more plays. I'm trying to think if the sweet spot is 3 players. I do like it at 4 because there is a lot of scanning, but the game we played was 3 players. There might be too much scanning in a 4-player game. I mean, we scanned a lot, but that could have just been the way our factions work too. So some of the other corporations might, I don't know, I would imagine they would want to do other stuff like land on planets more or more tech heavy. I don't really know. But yeah, so that was SETI. Like I said, I definitely, if you played SETI, definitely get the expansion and play with the expansion. Hey, I forgot to add this story, and it was funny. We were playing at my buddy's house, and he has 2 kids running around, so he picked up this squishy, and he started squishing it real hard. It exploded all over the board game. So I was like, holy cow, we didn't know we were stressing you out that bad. So this game might be a little stressful for some. We were cracking up, and my buddy's a freak with his game, so we were saying he's going to laminate everything. The next one was 1830. And 1830 is a train game. I never thought I would get into a train game, but I actually liked it quite a bit. The teach was a little bit rough. I tried to watch a video beforehand. Honestly, if you're going to play one of these train games, I would just suggest you watch a playthrough, not the whole thing because they are long. They are long. Like our game took 7 hours, which is borderline. That's pushing it for me. But watch a video of how to play because I tried to watch a playthrough. I tried to watch a how to play and I was a little confused. Then the guy teaching the game, he didn't do that great of a job, but honestly, I don't know how you can really teach that game that well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that you'll learn as the game goes. It's called suitcasing companies. Well, basically, you just open a company and trash it. Well, you don't really understand that until you play the game. But basically, it's all about stock market manipulation, buying stock, selling stock. You can tank other people's stock. You can help other train stock by laying track. So, like, what I like about it the most is you open up companies, and then if you are the majority shareholder, if you have 6 shares, or if you have more, it takes 6 shares to open it. If you have the majority, once it's open, you can sell them off. But if you are a majority of shares, you have control of the company. So you can either tank the company, you can make it a good company. You can pay out dividends. If you pay out dividends, the stock price goes up. You can keep all the money, which makes the stock go down, but then your corporation gets more money, so that you could buy better trains, lay better rail. But what's fun about it is you kind of got to plan, when you want to trash a company, kind of like, oh, this company did its purpose. Now the new up and coming company is going to take over. You kind of want to switch over, and you might want to lay rail to another track. You might want to help them out because you can lay rail off of your company. Well, if you know you're going to invest in a different company, you might want to start laying trail that's advantageous for that other company. So that other company will start making more money on the routes they do. Therefore, their company will become more profitable. But if you know you're going to do that, you can start to invest in that company before other people do, and then take over that company as you're getting more and more money because you use basically two companies to improve one. So I've only played it once. I liked it a lot. I thought it was great. I'm gonna need more plays. I don't think it's for everybody because the stock market stuff is you gotta like that stuff, and you can't be mad if people tank your shares. So it's really dynamic, and what I like about it too is the player interaction is crazy. So you can try to wheel and deal. Sometimes you can't, and you got to make sure your company has enough money. Honestly, it's kind of crazy too because you almost need a calculator with you at all times. I joked around and said next time I'm going to bring like an old school calculator with a paper reel. And I also said next time I'm going to be smoking a cigar and drinking a shot of Buffalo Trace because it's definitely a game that puts you in the mood. 1930s or 1830s, wear like a little suit and tie, uh, maybe a little hat, have a cigar, sit in a leather chair. That's the kind of vibe it gives you. So we'll see. I think I played TI4. I like TI4 a lot. I played that 2 times last year, 3 times last year. I do like 4X games. Um, this was my first 18XX game, and it's kind of a toss up right now. I like the 18XX games just because you can help each other out. Where like 4X games, you can kind of help each other out, but I feel like they're long. Sometimes they're drawn out. You can give people the wins. You can sabotage people. You can, hurt people out of spite. People hold grudges. People don't like to attack each other, so sometimes the game doesn't play well if people don't do that stuff. Well, in the 18XX game, I find that you're really not hurting people that bad. Yeah, you might tank their stock, but even if you tank their stock, they're still getting a bonus out of it because that stock goes into the bank, which then, if any bank shares are in there, when they pay dividends, instead of going to a player, they actually go back to the corporation. So this way, you can take dividends, which gives you money, and the dividends that the other player would have got, now the bank gets them. Well, the bank pays them to the corporation. So it's very good, at least from my first play. There's a lot of crazy stuff too, where there's certain rails that you need to know. Like there's only so many rails. So if you take a rail that another place needs, they're out the rail. I've only played it once, so I really don't know how much that affects the game. And I'm sure people that play it a lot, they know like, oh, if I take this rail, it hurts that company. I'll never get that good at the game. I really don't care. I just play it for the experience. So for me, I could care less if I lose the game. It doesn't really matter to me at all. I mean, I just play it to kind of have fun. That's just like an 18XX. When I play Twilight 4, could care less if I win. It's more of an experience. I only do those types of games like 2 to 3 times a year, maybe 4 times a year, because they're just so much. I mean, a 7-hour game is kind of crazy. My last TI game I played was 8 hours. It was 7 people. I don't think I'll ever play 7 people again. It was super fun. We did it over the holiday weekend. I barbecued, cooked up some food mid-game. But realistically, I would probably rather just play 4 2-hour games than 1 8-hour game. But like I said, I mean, it's an experience. You gotta try them out sometimes. The train TI, I say try TI. You might like that, you might not. 18XX, that's definitely not for everybody. I don't think everybody should try that for sure. That's definitely not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Well, with that, I then played Coffee Rush. I just got this game. It is, I tell you what, the components in it are crazy nice. I mean, you get like little milk drops, you get water drops, you get chocolate bars. You get little tea leaves. You get cups that you put you're making drinks. So it's kind of, you have a board, and you basically are just moving on this board and picking up the ingredients. And if you have to move on to a spot where somebody else is, Instead of 3 movement, you get 3 movement, but if you want to move into a spot where someone else is, it costs you 2 movement. And you can never end where somebody already is. So that's where the trick of the game is you're trying to make these drinks as fast as possible. But the kicker is when you make a drink, the 2 people to the left of you get a drink. So if you start making a ton of drinks, those people start getting more drinks. And you only have, they start on level 1, and then it's like a time track. And then at the end of your turn, they all tick down. Well, not too far into the game, you've got like 7, 8 drinks in front of you, and you don't have enough time to get them done. So when you get 3 drinks done, you can then turn them in and get an upgrade. They're okay. There's 4 upgrades in the game, but it's fun just to get the upgrade. But the real key to the game is just trying to get your drinks done 1 turn faster so that you can put more drinks on the other people's counter. Now, I played it with my son. He's 6. He loved it. Now, obviously, I made it super easy for him. I let him just jump on top of me to take ingredients without the extra movement. I played it with my daughter, and we played by the rules. She's 13, and she said, wow, this game is stressful. And when you look at it, you'd think it'd be like a nice, light, fun game. Like, you could wake up in the morning and, have a cup of coffee and play. You probably could if you're like an experienced gamer, but if you're a not experienced gamer, it can be kind of nerve-wracking because the drinks just keep piling up on you. It gets nerve-wracking when you can't complete them. Because once somebody doesn't complete 5 drinks, those are negative victory points. Every one you don't complete. But then once the 5 drinks fall off and you don't complete them, that's the end game trigger. So you don't want your drinks to come off because the game's a super low scoring game. You get 2 points for every upgrade you have, and then you get 1 point for every completed drink you have off to the side, but you lose a point for every drink you don't finish. So I like it. I mean, you can't compete. You cannot beat the component quality. I mean, just putting the ingredients in your little coffee cups is kind of funny. You only have 3 coffee cups too, so if you get ingredients, you have to decide to put them in, and you can't save them. You actually have to put them in the cup. So if you get ingredients you don't want, you got to lose them. If you have a cup that you need to change mid-time, like, oh crap, I got chocolate in that cup, but I don't need chocolate in it, you got to dump the chocolate out, lose it, because you made the wrong drink. That's kind of the theme of it, which I like a lot. You're like a little barista. You're like, oh, I put chocolate in there, I can't do that, so you got to dump the chocolate out. You made the wrong drink. But I mean, I like it overall. I'm gonna play it. I want to play it 4 players to see how it would work with that. 3 players can get a little rough, hectic. I wonder how 4 is. I really don't know. The board will get super tight because pretty sure it's a 4x4 grid. So you only have 16 spots. If there's 4 people on there and they take up some key ingredient spots that you need, that can really hose you. But like I said, overall, I think it's going to be a good game. I like it. It's just, I thought it would be like a light kind of game I could play with my family. I don't really know if that's the case, honestly. It's definitely a little bit more intense than I would like it to be for them. So I'm going to have to play it with my gamer friends. If they like it, then I'm going to keep it. If not, I don't know if I'll keep it for the kids because, like I said, they think it's a little stressful, but my son actually likes it, and my daughter did request to play it again, so maybe she does like it. So we're gonna give it a couple more tries. But I got it fairly cheap, like $20 or something. Like I said, I mean, even if you just take the components out, the components are nice. If you want to put them in a different game that uses milk, water, chocolate, caramel, you don't get a ton of them, but you still get a decent amount. There's cocoa beans, or cocoa. Yeah. Overall, though, super fun game, but I don't know if it's going to stay. Like I said, it's kind of like the weird spot where it's kind of too much for non-gamers, and it might not be enough for gamers. Because there's only 4 upgrades, too, so that might get samey if you're taking the same upgrades. Like, 1 lets you move. You can only move orthogonal. 1 lets you move diagonal. 1 lets you take double the resources if you land on another player. There's 1 that you get double the resources on all the corner spots. And then there's 1 if you get double the resources if you land on like the specialty, like the chocolate, the tea, the caramel, and the water. And they do stack too. So like I said, I mean, overall, we'll see. probably know within a month or two if that'll be being sold or not. But I think it has a good chance of staying. Taverns of Tiefenthal I just played. I love this game. I don't know. I have Quacks. Everybody loves Quacks. I do too. I think Taverns is a better game, personally. I think there's more game to it, but I only play with all the stuff. People, I know some people, they don't like playing with everything. I like playing with everything. I don't think it adds that much to the game, and I think it adds a lot. There's like 5 modules. One lets you get shots of or snops. One lets you get snops, and you can use them for extra abilities. One lets you get like a little bar thing, like whenever you get customers into the bar, you'll get to fill like they'll sign like your book, which then you'll start to get you can, once you fill columns and rows, you get different abilities or different cards. You'll get the nobles, which will give you 10 points. The one I like the most, is you get to, everybody's deck starts different. Like there's 3 upgrades, so you might upgrade your table, or you might upgrade your money, your cashier. You might upgrade your beer storage. That is my favorite of the modules, just because everybody starts different. If you play the base, everybody kind of does the same thing. They just buy chairs or chairs or tables, because every table you have, you can get an extra person out. So I find that people do that a lot, but if you do the module, there's just different stuff you can do. Like, you can actually go on a strategy where you want to thin your deck out, because there might be a starter card that says you get to discard two of your patrons, which you might want to get rid of the ones. There might be a card that gives you, I like the ones that give you extra cards, that give you a bump on the track, that lets you sign the book. And there's one that gives you a beer. There's also one that moves a cube. I like those the most, just because there's more cards in the deck, and it's just fun to do. But yeah, I I love Quacks. I don't like the new cover. I have the old one. I would never get the new one. I still got to get the upgraded bits, because mine is starting to take a beating. I'm not gonna lie. But the geek bits, I think they're a little pricey. I'd have to look again. My family loves the game, so that's kind of why I keep it too. But I actually got Guardlings, and I like Guardlings quite a bit because it's easier to teach. It's lighter, but if you want like a light game, it's better than Quacks, because I can bring that out and put it out at the camp table, and we can play it. And there's like no questions, super easy teach. In fact, last time I took it to camp, I wasn't even able to play no more, because I basically got kicked off the game, because my mom, my niece, which she don't even board game. My nephew, they don't really like board games. My daughter does. They ended up playing it, and they didn't want. You can only play 4 players, and they wanted to play. So I got booted. I said, "Well, I'll sit out so you guys can play." Well, then they proceeded to play that all night. So I didn't even get the game that night, which I was fine with, because that's the whole point. Getting them in the games is fun. But yeah, so check out Guardlings if you want like a lighter Quacks. But yeah, back to Taverns. I mean, it's super fun. I had a crazy combo where I discarded a bunch of my people, and I kept taking the discard action to get rid of people whenever I go around the bottom track. So my deck was super thin, to where I was just getting the higher end people to serve at the bar for more money. So yeah, check out Taverns. I mean, I don't know why people don't like it as much as Quacks. I think it's a better game, especially for gamers. Like, if you're gonna play with gamers, definitely play Taverns. I mean, I like the theme better too. So, you're running a pub. It's just better. And I think too, there's more with the way you build stuff. I think there's more combos you can pull off. Like, Quacks is just purely luck. Taverns, I think, has a little bit more skill. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, that's why I think I like Taverns more, because I like to have a little bit more skill. I like to have a little bit more agency in my deck building. So yeah, Taverns, definitely check that out. Hansa Tectonica. I played this game, and I do like this game quite a bit. I did play a 3-player. I only like it at 3. I don't really like it at 5. I won't play it at 4. So I went over to my buddy's house, and he brought somebody over who's like pretty new to games. I didn't realize that. And he wanted to play Hansa. Big mistake. Absolutely big mistake. The game is super easy theme-wise, or to teach. You basically put a cube down. You're trying to take over routes, build up a route. If somebody's there, you can kick them out, but it costs you an extra cube, and they get a cube. So the concept is very simple. The problem is there is a lot of strategy, and I always forget that about that game. New people can really struggle with it. So the game, I felt kind of bad because I ended up blowing them out so bad. I scored like 60 points to where they only scored like 50 combined. Normally I wouldn't do that at all. But he was kind of getting bored with the game. I could tell he was kind of wanting to get over because he knew he had no chance to win. So I really did just kind of push the end, which is why I scored so many points so fast. But yeah, that game is tough. It's definitely tough to play with a new player. So if you're gonna play with a new player, definitely try to take it easy and try to walk them through a more strategy. I was giving him tips. He wasn't really taking my advice because he thought I probably was trying to make it better for myself. But yeah, Hansa, I do love the game, but I prefer to play with people that have played it just because the concepts are easy. But the way you score, you can score different ways, and it's really not it's not a game that like basically tells you how you're going to score. You kind of have to go about it your own way, and it's very open ended, so you can do whatever you want. But it's very strategic. Like I said, Hansa, always fun. It's very competitive. I almost don't even bring it that much anymore because of it can be mean, and you almost have to be mean, even though the game is not a mean game, because it's really not that bad. If you block somebody, they can just move your cube. But like I said, it costs them one, and you get an extra one, and that is the whole point of the game, is to get in other people's way to give you a slight advantage because you're getting more of your cubes on the board, which lets you claim more routes, claim more bonuses, put more outposts up. So yeah, if you've never seen Hansa, definitely check it out. It's definitely a good game, but like I said, play it with people that have played the game before, or play it with the same group of people so you guys can all kind of get your own little meta. Because that's where I think it shines, when you play with the same people. You kind of get like a little meta going to where you kind of know what people are going to do, and you can kind of stop it. The next one is Orleans. I'm not going to talk much about Orleans. Love Orleans. This is a game I wanted to play most this year. I've already played it twice this year. We're like couple 2 weeks in the new year. Nothing bad to say. I wish there was more bag builders. The one I played recently that I was not a huge fan of is Life of the Amazonia. It was okay. I found it to be kind of long, and I'm not a big fan of games that there's a ton of ways to score. And in that game, you kind of have to, this thing needs to be next to that, which needs to be next to this, which needs to be next to that. I'm not a big fan of that. Kind of like Earth, where you got to kind of set up everything. I don't mind those games, but I prefer to have, I just prefer to have like a kind of a set way to score, or like you kind of know what you're going for. In Life of Amazonia, I just feel like, I don't know. I don't like doing that where I'm looking at every card saying, if I do this, I just find the game's bogged down. But yeah, Orleans, it was a fun game. It was the worst draws I've ever had in a game, by far. I could not draw a soldier if my life depended on it, which was crazy because I was all the way up the soldier track. So I definitely did some misplays. I went to gear strategy. I had a bunch of gears. I placed them in the wrong spots, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, I still had a blast playing it. So that just tells me, like, if I have the worst game ever and I still love the game, it's just a good game. I want to check out the big box because I don't have the game yet. My buddy has it. 2 of them have it. One has the base version. The other one has it upgraded with the Geek Bits. I think that's the way to go. Them geek bits are super nice to pull out of the bag. I'm not gonna lie. He's got the upgraded bags and all that. So I'm gonna have to check out the big box. I think those come with wooden tokens, but I could be wrong. It comes with the co-op. I don't really care to play that game co-op, and it comes with a different board to where you like when you send your workers away. There's different stuff on them. I played the one time. I wasn't a big fan. I think I like the original board best, but I got to try it again for sure because Orleans is getting up there. I think I played it like 9, 10 times total, 12 times, maybe 11. I don't know. Either way, I think I like the base board the best, but I gotta try the expansion stuff. And with that, we're gonna go to Seven Wonders Architects. Now, this game, I'm not a big fan of Seven Wonders. I'm not gonna lie. I came way too late into the hobby. In my deck building or drafting games, I like drafting games that have a little bit more to them. I want to have something else, Like I like Dominion, but I want to have I like Clank. Clank. I like stuff like that where there's deck building, but there's also more to it. So I figured someone brought Seven Wonders Architects. So I figured I'd try it out for like a light, fun game with my family, and I think it could fit the role. I mean, I will say the production is awesome. Building your stuff. I got the one where I built. It was like a soldier. I didn't really care for that one. You basically get like a shield, like a sword and shield, which helps you win in combat. Not my favorite one by far. The other guy I played with, he got like free text. That one seemed pretty good, not gonna lie. He didn't win with it, but it seemed pretty powerful. But yeah, there's not much choice to the game. We did play with the medals version where you could get like medals and stuff, so it adds a little bit of complexity. Not really. My game, I had a terrible game. The guy to my left and right, they were not drawing cards out of our pile at all. So basically, I was just sitting there taking cards. Like you could draw at the top for random, but you just never know what you're going to get. Or I was just sitting there with the same choices, and neither one of them I needed. So, and it turns out like every time I took the one to, refresh it, well, guess what? One of the ones that my opponents needed that I needed, they ended up taking. So I did not have a great play of it. I don't think I'd play with the board game group again. Just because I find it too light. I don't know. I'd rather play something else, especially in that amount of time that it took. Our game drug, too. I don't know what was going on. It was supposed to be a fast game, and our game just seemed like it took forever. I'm like, can we get this game over with? So I wasn't a huge fan of it, but if I can get a deal on it, I might actually pick it up to introduce my family to drafting games. Because I like to introduce them to different stuff. Obviously, they got to be the super light versions, to get them into it. But yeah, overall, I can see why people like it so much. That's for sure. I honestly would probably rather play that more than the Seven Wonders. I mean, I like Seven Wonders Duel. So, I don't know. I'd probably say Seven Wonders Duel is my favorite out of the Seven Wonders. And then Architects, and then just Seven Wonders. But that's not really saying much for me because I'm not a big fan of Seven Wonders. It really did do nothing for me. And with that, we'll end on. I'm on week 3 of my quest calendar. I'm having a lot of fun with that. Surprisingly, more fun than I thought I would. The story, I like the story. I like being a bad guy. That kind of switches stuff up, That's kind of cool. Playing as a bad guy. You always play as a good guy, yada, yada, yada. So it's nice playing through the eyes of the bad guy. I'm hoping the bad guy turns into a good guy, but we'll see. You never know. Or maybe we're going to become, the ultimate bad guy. Who knows? Maybe we'll take over the throne. But yeah, overall, super fun. And I think I'm going to be getting to the point where I have to pick a character. So it'll start to go a little bit faster because right now you got to read the backstories of all the new characters, which I think there's 6 characters. So I've read all those backstories. I think I'm going to have to pick a main character. I don't know who I'm going to pick yet. Honestly, I like all their backstories. I like the rat guy's backstory. I like the vampire's backstory. I like underdogs. I like the old witch's backstory. So there's a lot of good stories in the game. But I am kind of excited to actually just pick a character and get into the game because it'll just speed it up a little bit. Instead of taking 30 minutes, it's going to take me, 10, 15 minutes, which that's all you need for that game. And then, but yeah, other than that, it was a great 2 weeks of gaming. So
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
so I
let me
just
know
wanted to
what you
add this
think
part in here at
about
the
my
end.
opinion.
When you play these, especially like these big games that you want people to play, because it's hard to get people to play some of these games, especially like Twilight and this 18xx games. When you play with them, try to make their first game more enjoyable. Like actually give them like a winning shot. And I'm not complaining. I still did okay in a game I played. Not a big deal. But when you play with some people and you bring them into a game of TI and then you would like, oh, you slaughter them or you attack them out of nowhere, they take away their resources, they can't do nothing. They're not going to want to play that 7-hour game with you again. So you're only hurting yourself. So in like this game, in the beginning, they kept telling me, don't get the B&O, don't get the B&O. There's like a drafting section. Well, what ended up happening, like a bid section, what happened is I got the B&O because it's my first time. I messed up because it's hard to explain. It's a waterfall draft and a waterfall bid where you're bidding from the top ones down. And then if someone takes the lowest one, it causes like they call it a rip. And then everybody has to take what they have a bid on and then bid against it. Either way, ended up, I got it. Not a huge deal, but it's not a good feeling when they say, do not get this or you're going to be you're going to be in real trouble on the game. The whole game, you're going to be in trouble. It's like, it's a 7-hour game. And I got it, and I'm just like, oh, wow, this sucks. And then we're like an hour in, and the guy's like, oh, man, I really don't like your position. You're kind of stuck where you are and this and that. And it's like, all right, well, he took some of the track where I needed to go and didn't help me out. If you're playing these types of games, help the new person out because if you're playing these games, not many people play these games. Like, not many people I know will play a 18xx. Not many people I know will play Twilight. So you should really help them out and encourage them. Maybe make them do good. Maybe even throw them a win. Not saying you have, like, I didn't want the win given to me, but I'm just saying when you play with these new people in these massive games, make it fun for them. Make them want to come back because you give someone a bad play of a 7-hour game, they are never playing that game again. I mean, that is rare. So yeah, just, help people out, even if you're, I don't want to say king making because I would never king make, but give them a fighting shot, give them a little handicap. But with that, that's about it.